how do you create a consistent communication strategy? First, you have to identify what your goal is. This is the part where, as business owners and operators, let ourselves down. We know exactly what to do. We've been given all the information, but how and when, in what order? How do we execute that great idea? That strategy is just a fancy word for plan. And a plan is a wonderful thing to have that means nothing unless you execute it. I'm so excited to talk to you guys today because generally my team is sick and tired of hearing me say the same things again and again and again, because consistency breeds trust, and because it's coming out of my pores. I love this industry. I don't know all of you in the audience, but I do love all of you because this is, what built not only my career, but some of the most cherished friendships in my life. So I'm really happy to share what I know from my history. I'm going to unpack creating customers, increasing revenue through consistent communication today, and I'm going to give you a roadmap of how to do it. I'm going to discuss it with you in two ways. One, my experience and why you should even listen to me as to why you can do it and why I should be an expert or a specialist in this. And two, I'm going to then give you a framework that you can apply to your own businesses in order to have that roadmap to make sure that you're consistently communicating and how to best do it. Okay? This is a large percentage of my team. We are business management consultants for the diamond, gemstone, and jewelry industry only. It's all we do. We've all been in the industry from 15 years to 40 years. I won't tell you which one was 40. And we help businesses grow. We're in the business of growing businesses. Why did I start this company? This is not my first time around the rodeo. This is the second business that I've owned. This one was launched in 2012. But before that, I was in the industry as an employee of some of the largest jewelry manufacturers in the American market. Some of you may know Andine International, Ofer and Aya Azrialant, which was bought by Richline, and M. Fabricant and Sons. I was a vice president of sales for these businesses in New York City, selling to the majors in the American market. I noticed that the American market was still growing in the late 90s, but it was growing 7, 8, 6% per year, and the Chinese market was growing 15%, 17%, 20% per year, and I thought, oh my God, this is my life's work. I better know what's going on over there. And I happened to just get married to a man who had done voluntary work in China and knew how to speak Chinese, so I moved with a 6-month-old baby and a 1-year-old baby to Hunan. This is not an A tier, B tier, C, D, E, F, G tier city. In the middle of nowhere, I had a 6-month-old baby and I had to figure out how to buy diapers, right? Dishwashing liquid looked the same as shampoo, so you really had to learn fast. And I had to have somebody teach me how to say, what's your best-selling color and clarity in Mandarin? And they had to have a tutor teach them how to say it first, because that's not stuff that you generally know how to say, right? And I spent a year studying that market, because just like in the American market, what sells in LA is what's different than what sells in Texas is different than what sells in New York, right? So I went to around to the different provinces while my husband babysat and learned what was happening all over the Chinese market. I went down then, after understanding it, to some of the largest site holders who at the time were being compelled to have a jewelry division by the supplier of choice requirements for the DTC site holders. And I said, I'm Elle Hill. I know the Chinese market. I know the American market. I can run your jewelry business. And I started to work for Delumi Jewelry. Fantastic, amazing business. And we work, I reported to the most amazing guy. 6 months after I joined the company was $1 million larger than it was. And 6 months after that, my amazing boss reported to me. And over the course of the next 3 to 5 years, I made that company profitable for the first time ever. Some of the things I'm going to talk to you about today, I implemented in order to do this. And that's why I'm giving you my background. Once I did that, I thought, wow, I think I know how to do this. Maybe I'll launch my own business. And I launched a startup. And it wasn't Starbucks, but I was sitting in a Starbucks when we had the idea, and my business partner, or soon to be business partner, was thinking of running a t-shirt company. But I told her, you know, I don't really know much about t-shirts, and I ended up writing the business model for a company that would be an online-only fine designer jewelry retailer called Plukka. And this was close to 15 years ago. Everyone thought I was stupid, because why would somebody buy a $12,000 piece of jewelry from a brand that no one's heard of with an unusual name? You had to have unusual names to get the URL you wanted. And online, who doesn't even have a store and doesn't have any trust and hasn't had the time to even build it, okay? What I did was I was consistent. I made sure that we chose to be something and be that authentically. We sold the most outrageous jewelry in the marketplace from emerging designers that couldn't get the signal to noise that they wanted, but we understood how to communicate for them. And because of that, the editors of major magazines were thrilled with us, because we weren't selling boring jewelry. We were selling tortoise-shaped rings in 18-karat gold covered with diamonds, and it made for good magazines, right? And it also made for clients who were very loyal to us because we had the most unusual jewelry. So we were very consistent about never doing basic and boring. We were very consistent about doing the most unusual jewelry in the world. And we gained traction and attention. And you're going to see a lot of different haircuts on me in these slides today. So you can vote at the end about which one is your favorite. So what we noticed after selling our first $12,000 ring online, in the first month, second month that we opened, my former COO from that business and current COO from this business is in the audience, we thought, okay, let's do a little thing at one of our seed money angel investors' restaurants. It's a really chic restaurant. The ladies who are our clients love those restaurants, and they're closed all day. So we could go to the place that is consistently their style, that they enjoy, and we could do a trunk show. Well, in 4 hours at our first trunk show in the Landmark in Hong Kong, very fancy mall, we sold what it took us 4 months to sell in the prior 4 months. So we thought, okay, we've done a good job though, and you can see on this screen, and you can see in what I'm wearing, everything was all black. Everything was sophisticated black, whites, and neutrals. From the pads that the trays stood upon to the font that Plukka was written in, that every single communication we did was written in. We were consistent. And again, in the picture, I'm wearing all black again. And we were always in our brand, fonts, colors, whether we were in real life or we were on our website, which was also a black and white font. So what we knew was 4 months of sales in 4 hours, I think we need in real life, in conjunction with our robust online business, to really bolster sales and to create the trust in person that would end up having women come back and buy from us online later when we were no longer there, right? And then we opened the first jewelry store in the world for Plukka's brand. And we managed to do this very effectively because we went to the most expensive mall in Hong Kong, the Landmark, and we got a space next to Louis Vuitton and across from Tiffany's, other houses that looked like a neighborhood that we wanted our business to be perceived as, equal to. And we said, we only need 200 square feet, but you have this huge 2,000 square feet place. Can we just pay by the square foot? And we got in there, right? And we had our first store, and we decorated that store exactly like we decorated our website. The colors of the walls, the font of the name, everything about it meshed seamlessly with the way that we communicated in our advertising and on our website and on our social media. We were consistent in our communication, and that consistency breeds trust, and it bred the trust that allowed us to go on to open our second store in London. You can see that the London market is slightly different than the Hong Kong Chinese market and the mainland Chinese market that travels to Hong Kong to purchase. So the store looks a little bit different, and it looks in the style of the community that we wish to serve, but it's still black and white, it's still Plukka, it's still on brand, and it was still a tiny footprint where we could move a lot of high revenue. Most people are reaching out and saying, this is me, this is what I do, this is what I have, this is what me. And no one cares about you. Your communication is never about you. It's always about who you're trying to serve and how you can solve a problem or create an opportunity for them. Hi, Elle Hill here. Do you want to learn how to get on the phone with any buyer that you want to work with without an introduction or a referral? Click to get the downloadable that we've made for you that you can start using right away and will be really useful for your business and growing your revenue. When we came to open our store in New York City, same thing. We had to tweak it just a little bit because now we're in Soho, it's light and bright, but we're still black, we're still neutral, we're still plucka, and we're still on brand. So we understood how to be consistent online, offline, in our digital marketing, in our paid, owned, and earned marketing, so that people knew that we were going to be the same again and again and again, and that meant that our jewelry would be too. It would be as authentic and consistent as we are. Am I talking too fast? No, I'm good. Okay. So we were really, really grateful and humbled that we went on. This is the hairdo that I think most of you will not vote for. We went on to win 2 very prestigious awards at the Hong Kong Jewelry Show, one of the largest in the world, rivaling JCK, but not better than it, wherever Serena is, not better than it. We were most innovative retailer of the year after we launched. And we beat out Chow Tai Fook, the largest retailer on the planet, to be e-tailer of the year in 2013. So we thought we really kind of nailed this, right? The consistency was paying off. And it paid off so much that we were able to bring the company public in an IPO on the Australian Stock Exchange in under 5 years. A jewelry company. It hadn't been done before, and as far as I know, it hasn't been done since. And even with the decks, the investors' documents, the Excel files that we handed to men who invest in potash in Australia were black and white with the plucka font, and we were consistent at every touch point, which breeds confidence and security that you can deliver what you've promised you deliver to us. Hence, the $10 million IPO. Today, I am the founder and the owner of Hill & Company, business management consultants for diamond, gemstone, and jewelry businesses only. It's all we do. It's the industry we love. It's what we're passionate about. We have, not everyone is in the picture there, but we have 13 deep area experts that do nothing but what we did with Plucka, my first business. We take a look at everything that you guys are doing and we see, okay, how do we make it work? So that's my story about why to listen to me about this topic. But what's really most interesting is how do I translate that into a framework that we use at Hill & Company and that you can use. You can walk away after we talk today and look at your own business through this lens in order to audit yourself and say, how good am I doing? How consistent am I? Because even just like when we step on the scale, I always think the number is going to be a little better, right? So if we take a close look with a framework, we can detect where we have opportunities for improvement. So let's take a look at it from that slightly different point of view. How do you create a consistent communication strategy, right? First, you have to identify what your goal is. Your goal may be to sell your turtle jewelry to the turtle-loving, jewelry-loving community across a certain location or region. Your goal may be to grow your business so quickly that you can have it acquired by somebody else. Your goal may be to create a robust, stable business you can hand down to your next generation. Your goal is very important because just like Google Maps, you're putting your goal in and then you're deciding, where am I today? Where do I stand? And how do I get from here in the most efficient way to where I want to be? And that's going to help guide the decisions you say yes to and the decisions you say no to as you develop your communication strategy. So once you know where you're going, think about the Google Maps analogy, right? I'm here, I'm going over there. What are the hurdles in my way, or what roads are paved nice and smoothly? This is a current state mapping. Okay, where am I? Where am I doing well? And we're going to go over how to audit, check this, and what things you want to look at. And where is there like potholes in the road that need some changing or need some leveling up so that we can move more smoothly through this journey? Because as a very dear friend of mine says, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So we want to make sure that we're getting a smooth road to drive our communications on, right? And I'm going to lean into that analogy a lot in a little bit. So then we identify, okay, what do we require? We got to fill those potholes. How do we fill them? Who do we need to fill them? Or can our team fill them by ourselves? And then we create a strategy about how we're going to execute our plan to fill all those potholes. Because you can't fill them all at once, and you have to figure out which ones are closer that you need to fill before you get to the next level. I will shift analogies at some point. Then you do the execution plan and rollout. This is the part where we often all, as business owners and operators, let ourselves down. We know exactly what to do. We've been given all the information, but how and when, in what order? How do we execute that great idea? That strategy is just a fancy word for plan. And a plan is a wonderful thing to have that means nothing unless you execute it, right? So this is the steps that we're going to go through, and now I'll break them down, right? Because the consumer journey, who you're trying to communicate with, is the same again and again and again. And if we know something's coming, we can prepare for it well, like the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, right? So the consumer gets an idea. Ooh, I have to buy a present, and I think it needs to be jewelry. Or, ooh, I just got a promotion. I don't want to congratulate myself. Let me get some information about what I want to do, who I want to buy from, what I want to buy, where I want to go, and what's important to me. Let me get some information about that. And then I'll go and buy it. And after I buy it, I'm going to receive it really on the spot, or later after it's been customized, or in the mail because I bought it online. And there's a whole experience that I'm having there. And then if you have done all of the other steps right, that consumer is going to say, you know what? You should really go buy from Elle. Your stores are so cool. She's got a different black leather dress on every time I go in, but she always knows what the hot, special, crazy jewelry is, right? So this is the buying journey. And I like to think in terms of positive connotations. So there are hurdles along the way, or there are opportunities along the way, let's say, to drive your customer along this journey further and have them keep staying with you on it, right? So once they're getting the idea, wherever it is they're going to get ideas, you want to be showing up there with your consistent messaging. And then that may get them to go look for more information about you. And maybe they're going to look at your website. Maybe they're going to look at your social. Maybe they're going to walk into your store. Maybe they're going to even look at your LinkedIn because they want to know, who are these people and what did they do before and what do they know about jewelry? LinkedIn, yeah. So you have to make sure that every touch point where information about you is available to an end consumer is on brand, on color, on font, on copy, tone of voice. Communication must be consistent. So each one of these points along this consumer journey, we need to audit to make sure that the communication is consistent. Let's break it down. I'm going to go back to the analogy because, as my team knows, I speak in analogies. It's my most effective way to get you to my point quickly. Communication is like a car. You build your car. In my case, it would be a black Ferrari. And I want to then drive that communication to its destination, which is you, my ideal target consumer, right? But if my highways are not smooth, I am not going to be moving quickly. So the very first place I start isn't in developing the colors or the communications or the flyers or the ads. The first thing I do is go, what does the highway look like? Is the highway in order? What does the highway consist of in this analogy, I hear you think? Let's go through it. Your website is part of your communication highway, Again, we're not talking about the car yet. We're going to get to the car later, and it is a black Ferrari. So your website is first. I'm not going to read to you slides. There is nothing that I hate more than having a slide read to me. At the end of my talk, there is a QR code. You can download this whole deck sitting in your chair in half a minute right after I finish the deck. So you can go through this because I've given you the roadmap. I've given you the checkpoints that you want to go and say, okay, let me look at my website. Does it look like it is the right color? Does it look like it's the right font? And then let's look at the infrastructure of it, not just the skin. Is it collecting information? Does it have a lot of buttons that people can press so that I can see what they like and what they want to do? Am I watching which pages they go to most often so that I understand what people are resonating with that I'm putting out there that I might want to expand, right? So there's a long list of what you want to examine on your website. One of your roads, one of your highways that you're going to send your communications over. Search engine optimization is another one of your highways. Your consumer, maybe when they're on that idea portion or the info portion, may be getting the idea to buy from you because when they Googled tortoise-shaped jewelry, I don't know, it's my daughter that I picked tortoise-shaped jewelry, you're gonna pop up higher and higher on the SERPs, on the search engine results page, right? So you want to invest in search engine optimization over time. And I've given you a lot of bullet points that I'm not gonna read to you about how you need to make sure your search engine optimization or the people that you are employing or contracting out freelance to do this for you are implementing to make sure that you're being consistent about how you're building the highway that's going to carry your message. We're not even talking about the message, right? We're making sure that you have the highways built correctly. The content is it's a duality for content. It's part of what you're sharing, and it is also a way that you're disseminating information. So you do want to make sure that all of your content is what I've been saying all along here. Same colors, same fonts, same tone of voice, same formal or informal language, whatever you found resonates best with your ideal customers. Email marketing is one of your highways. Email marketing, I was just talking to Ira Bergman outside, who works with a business that helps retailers close out when they have failed. And they said one of the number one questions that they ask them is, how big is your email newsletter, Freudian slip, how big is your email newsletter subscriber list? How many people have given you permission to communicate and market to them? And he said, the smaller that list is, the more we know that this is a customer for us that needs our help to close this out because they don't have a successful business on their hands. So your newsletters and your ability to acquire, encourage, and reward people to sign up for your newsletter is an extremely good indicator of your health at being able to communicate consistently to the people that you want to reach. Analytics. This is one of your highways. I say that because that's how you find out whether the highways are working well. If you have your analytics set up right, you know what people are engaging with, you know what they're responding to, which informs you making better decisions about the next thing that you give out to them for them to engage with next time. So making sure, and this is something that a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I look at my site traffic, but are you looking at what drove that traffic there? Are you looking at the analytics? Do you have someone who understands to look at the analytics and then actually decide what the business decision those analytics are informing? It's super important for your consistent communication and your consistent effective communication. You all still with me? Yeah? Okay, we're still going. Social media. Social media, huge highway. It's very interesting to me, I have to say, because I don't watch television, I watch business. I love business. It's like a puzzle that is different with every single, you can tell I love it probably. But social media, it's very interesting to me to see that industries like ours, and our industry in particular, but each one has certain things they latch onto. And oh, you gotta have this, you gotta have this. And social media is one of the things that everybody seems to understand you've gotta have, but nobody seems to really understand exactly how to leverage, exactly how to pull that lever to really communicate consistently for them. So this is where you need to examine where the people are that you want to talk to, and where do they go to consume information? If they don't consume information on LinkedIn, who cares what your LinkedIn is like and what your activity is like there, short of just having a banner that is on brand and in the right font and saying the same things that you say at every single touch point, right? If your consumer is not on TikTok, then you don't have to be on TikTok. So you have to constantly keep your ear to the ground to understand which social channels are important to the people that you're trying to talk to, and make sure that you put your energy into that. Scattershotting, opening every single social media platform and having no ability to go on there and leverage it and engage and speak and listen and respond is going to shoot yourself in the foot and just make you look like somebody who's maybe asleep at the wheel and never answering or communicating very effectively. So take care with which social media platforms you choose, and I recommend you choose one and do it so well that you're like, it can operate like a well-oiled machine without my even thinking about it, or my marketing team, if you have one, if you're that lucky company, without even thinking about it. Now we'll look at number 2, right? So be judicious about this. I got to click. And digital ads. Digital ads I put way down at the end because it's probably the first thing that people think of. They're like, oh, I got to do advertising. That's communication. All of this is highways for your communication. And digital ads are only one of those highways, and you have to take great care with them because people trust more third-party validation. They trust more things you show them, not tell them. So be very judicious about when you deploy digital ads, and start very small and learn. Okay, so that is the highway, right? Those are all the places where we want to make sure we have a smooth road, because slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So we want to take our time and slowly ensure that we have the right highway before we even put the Ferrari on it, right? Then we got to build the Ferrari. That's the next part, right? So some examples of what we do to make sure our communication is on point and consistent, so that it breeds the know, like, and trust that comes from being consistent when people can't look, touch, and feel, right? 60 to 80% of the buying journey is online. So you have to be consistent online, but let's forget. Remember my story about how we learned that our online-only business, which was so trendy, really needed to be IRL as well, in real life as well, because that's where there's really a lot of power. They would come to us once. We did a 25 city trunk show tour across America, and we were in Hong Kong, and we would see the bump in online purchases for the coming year because people got to come, touch, feel, and go, yep, we can trust Elle and Joanne and Pamela, and we know that we can buy from them online again and again and again, right? So your IRL events, and there's a picture of an event we did here for an opulent brand, 5- and 6-figure dollar value pieces of jewelry. This was the launch of the brand, which we executed for them in the Ritz Hotel in London. Each plinth that you see in this gorgeous opulent room at the Ritz Hotel in London has one piece in it. They sold $2.1 million that night because we were on brand. This was a very high-end diamond mine that was launching a branded diamond jewelry line of the most exquisite high-end quality. And this is how we chose to stay on brand with that company. Your visual communication is also, so maybe I should go back just one second, because visual communication is online and offline. So I'm showing you examples of both. You're also going to be creating visual communication that you push out onto the highways on your social media, on YouTube, maybe one of your channels where you have audiences that are consuming information, maybe not. You're going to learn that by examining where your target consumer consumes information. But as you're creating, and this is a picture of the back of my head, as we created some video communication for one of our clients, and I was there in the room because I wanted to make sure the director knows how to do a fine video shoot, but he doesn't necessarily know what's going to be super on brand for our clients' brand and for the target consumer they want to speak to. So you must make sure as you do visual communication that it's on brand. If you are very professional, a very conservative business, you don't want a handheld selfie video of you walking around your garden. If you're a very approachable, a down-to-earth, accessible expert, maybe you do, right? So you got to make sure that the visual communication you're creating both in real life and online are equally as effective. We did a photo shoot for that same brand to be in their print and digital advertising, and we did it at Chateau Fontainebleau outside of Paris. It's just fun to say bleu outside of Paris, with the most exquisite haute couture, because that was on brand for that client. It's not going to be on brand for, say, another client that was street, city, savvy, down to earth, layered, small pieces. And so that we shot in New York City in Central Park, and I think I was just starting to grow out the hair there. So taking control of what you create and thinking a lot about the other elements that are in any image or video that you do, making sure that they look like a house in the neighborhood where your brand lives is super important. So think about your props, think about what you're going to see inside of your visual communication. So we talked a little bit already that one of the highways is social media, and you want to make sure that your in-store staff, your online polls, what social media do you look at most? Your data analytics from each one of the social medias, if you are present in more than one, will show you where people are most consuming your information and, more importantly, engaging with your information with comments and emojis and interactions. Put your money, your budget, your time, and your talent in the place where your ideal client is consuming information the most. And then behave online like you would at a party. You guys already know how to deal with your customer when you're talking to them in a booth or you're talking to them in your store, right? You've already figured out the hard part. So now whenever you are communicating online, behave online like you would at a cocktail party, like you would in real life. If somebody came up to me at a cocktail party and said, "Man, you look so chic. You're kind of like a human black Ferrari." And I said to them, I don't think it'd go down too well, right? So if you're spending all this time communicating, especially on social media, if somebody takes the time to give you a heart emoji or to actually take all their fingers and thumbs and write something on your post, you must write back to them. Behave online the same way you would behave in person. Someone just talked to me. I'm going to respond and I'm going to ask them a question so that they can keep answering me and we can keep developing a relationship. So every time you get a comment on your social, comment back. Make sure that you're engaged or someone on your team is engaged to make sure that you're never that person at a party that's blanking people that are actually trying to start a conversation with you. And your unique brand message shouldn't be just out to your ideal clients. This should be so honest and so authentic that it's the way that your management talks to your retail shop or your B2B sales reps, which then also marries authentically, consistently with the way that you speak online and the way that you speak to your clients, right? I think we all know, well, no, maybe a lot of us aren't old enough to know the story of a famous retail jeweler that was globally renowned who said, we sell crap and our clients buy them. And that company quickly went under. I don't know how many people know the story that I'm talking about. You speak the way you believe every minute of every day, and in the bathroom stall when you're talking to your colleague make sure that you are consistent about what you think and believe, and if it isn't authentic, get out of the business. That is the end of my talk for today. And I have 10 minutes left so that if anybody has any questions, they can ask me, and I'm happy to answer any of them. The QR code on screen will allow you to just plug in your email address and get this deck emailed to you right now as you're sitting there. So All the pictures aren't necessary. And you can take it home with you and certainly email us and let us know, or me, you got me right there. Any questions that you might have, please feel free to let me know. And I think I've done a pretty good job. I was told, please leave more time. Last time I only left 5 minutes for questions.
Yeah, you did great.
So I know at Plug you were creating very unique and niche products. When you sell niche products, how do you find the customer? Like, how do you do the customer acquisition for very niche and unique products?
Good question. And here's my argument. The more niche and unique you are, the easier it is to find them. In particular, because digital marketing is very important. Whether it's paid, owned, or earned, 60 to 80% of the consumer journey is happening online. Even if you don't transact online ever, even if you're a manufacturer, even if you're a retail store that has a website and a store, or doesn't transact online at all, only in store, 60 to 80% of that client journey is online. Digital marketing, or opening up a website, is opening up a store on a corner in a cloud that no one walks by. So what you have to do is figure out who would like this store and why do they like it? Because it provides an opportunity for them or it solves a problem for them in particular, right? So you have to identify who those people are, and then through digital marketing, you have to segment that audience, right? I want 50-year-old women who dress in all black, that earn over blah-de-blah per month, that own their own businesses, that love turtle tortoise jewelry that's made out of 18-karat fine gold, right? You have to segment that audience. The more niche you are, the easier it's going to be for you to find your target audience and where they are and communicate to them. You know, so the Tortoise Museum is a fantastic place for you to speak to them, right? So the more niche you are, the more you can be authentically only what you are, not try to be everything, everywhere, all at once to everyone, the more you're going to be able to resonate with that niche audience, and they're going to come to you. So you're going to do the research about where do tortoise-loving, black-wearing business entrepreneurs go to consume information. Well, I watch singing competitions on YouTube, so ads on YouTube might be good. I don't watch television, but I watch the jewelry in the news. So Rob Bates, Michelle Graff, anything that they might say about me might be good. So maybe I'll advertise in there. You following me? So niche is easier than broad, is my humble opinion.
I am recently a new business owner in jewelry.
Excellent.
It's because I'm right here.
Yeah.
And it's very overwhelming because I feel myself getting lost or torn into like where I should primarily focus my finances. Is it like in marketing? And if it's in marketing, like what part of marketing? Or is it the pieces that I sell? Like I like to touch, feel, and think the jewelry. So do I put all my I just worry about putting all my eggs into one basket and then missing out on maybe something I should have focused more attention on.
Got it. Okay. So there aren't cookie cutter answers, but I'm going to give you the closest thing I can to it because I haven't lifted the hood on your car yet. I don't know that much about your business, but that journey that I talked about, right? In the end of the day, if you have an idea, you have a great business idea, no one cares. No one needs another jewelry retailer. No one needs another jewelry designer. Quite frankly, we were at the Couture Awards last night. Some of the brands that we launched in Hong Kong were winning awards there. No one needs another. We are not heart valves, we're heart pendants, right? So what is your reason for existing? The only reason you deserve the right to have a business is because you are uniquely positioned to solve a problem for someone who's going to pay money in return for that solution. Or you're uniquely positioned to create an opportunity that somebody can't figure out how to grab the reins of. That opportunity might be the perfect piece of jewelry for my wedding. That pain point might be like, my God, my wife is really pissed off at me because I built a fire pit without asking her. Whatever, is it too much information? Whatever the problem is, you need to start with knowing who you're serving and becoming a member of the community that you wish to serve, right? You got to know them inside out, upside down. Is it a retail operation? It is. You own a store? Online only? Okay. Store on a corner in a cloud. There was an article Galan did about me about 12 years ago. Read it. So because you got to drive traffic to that store. So start with them. Who are you serving? How specific can you be? Who is it? Why did you start this business? Because somebody saw something that you made or something that you liked or said you had a good eye? Get in bed with the people, get in bed with the people that you're going to serve and know where they tick, know where they go to the gym, know what kind of news they read, know which newspaper they read, know what kind of political stance they have, if there's any generality you can make there. Learn them to the soles of your feet and then serve them with the solutions to their problems and to the opportunities that they want to grab. That's where you have to start, knowing that, because then that's going to inform, rather than I have an idea and hunting for it. That's much harder. You know, when you want to find the perfect shoes to go with the dress you already own, very hard. Every single time I walk in here, I want to buy 5 pairs of shoes because I'm not shopping right now, right? So start with your consumer, learn them super well, and that's going to then inform where you have to communicate to them and what your product, what you're going to communicate with them about. I hope that helped.
Do you know who your consumer is? Do you know? You do. Okay, that's helpful, right?
I love
That
this
makes
stuff.
sense.
Great question. It's that
Information.
circle, if I can just,
Yeah.
because I can't shut up. It's that circle. Start with the info. Like, where are they? Because you need the client or you won't have the revenue to do all the other stuff.
I love what you say because you're like, who are you first?
Because most of the communications, and I'm going to say this while we're giving you the mic, and then I will actually shut up and let you ask the question. Most people are reaching out and saying, this is me, this is what I do, this is what I have, this is what me. And no one cares about you. They care about the pain they're having or the excitement they're having at finding that great piece of jewelry.
I'd love to know your favorite ways to gather that information, especially if you're small or medium and on a budget.
On the ground, with the human beings, trunk shows, small little places. Start super small, talk to people, be in that last 13 inches with the people that are actually buying the jewelry. I go to the Conclave, the AGS Conclave. Does anybody know what that show is in our audience? It's a show for retail jewelers that are, some of the top retail jewelers across there's 650 of them were there with us a couple of weeks ago. They're not our clients. They're people who we serve. They're people who our clients would like to serve. So we got to know them, because we got to help our clients understand them, right? So we go there. People are like, why are you here? You work with the largest businesses in the industry. They're not here at this independent jewelry thing. And I'm like, these people are standing 13 inches from everyone I'm trying to grow their business faster is trying to serve. So get where the clients are. I want to be where the people are. Something like that. Go where they are and listen to them. Go into the stores. Go into the stores that you want your store to be like and serves audience members that you think you can serve better, and listen to them. Pretend you're shopping. But get yourself into the mix with the people that you're trying to serve. Your communication is never about you. It's always about who you're trying to serve and how you can solve a problem or create an opportunity for them.
I love it. Elle, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Big round of applause for Elle.
If you like that video, you're going to love the next one. It's full of our expertise and tips on diamonds, gemstones, and jewelry, growing your top line revenue, and business strategy. Just click on the link, subscribe, and hit the bell button so that you'll be notified of our next videos, and give us a like. Bye for now.